Hey guys, I don't know if you're like me, but I love Count the Dings and everything it has to offer. I just can't find everything I need. I know about Cinephobe, and I know about the Mailbag, and I know about Bomb, but that's all we do, right, Amin?
No, we do so much more.
What?
Yeah, absolutely. If you sign up, patreon.com/countthedings, you'll find a plethora of other content, fresh content, extended content, the OG pod overflow, the Cinephobe cold opens that we've taken and made their own thing to live only there, the Rewatchingtons, Bomb in its full and unadulterated cut, early drops of Cinephobe episodes, and so much more.
Said the OG pod. Now, is it new or is it old?
Mace, I'm glad you asked that. It is a new incarnation of the old OG pod.
Oh.
So it's me, Zach, Trey, Waz, Tom.
I love those guys.
Just like we always were. Going back to the True Hoop days, we're recreating that magic, recapturing it, and putting it back out. We're talking hoops, we're talking pop culture, and most importantly, we're talking for 40 minutes for free, but then another specific Patreon exclusive segment for every one of those episodes.
Funny enough about that OG pod, you're getting Tom and Trey on Mondays. You're getting me and Waz, aka Zosny, on Wednesdays. Amin's floating in between.
I'm a floater.
You never know when you're going to get Amin in those, so you got to listen to them all.
And what if I'm not sure what Mayes looks like? Because I've always thought he's a fat man with a fedora. He's got a weird voice. How can I see for myself what this Mayes character actually looks like?
It's crazy you don't know the answer to this because it's the Cinephobe Pod YouTube page.
What?
The CT5s on the Cinephobe Pod YouTube page, you can look at all of us.
You can get all the OG pods on YouTube too, at Count the Dings 1 on YouTube, at Cinephobe Pod on YouTube, patreon.com/Count the Dings gets you everything all in one feed. You can link it to your Spotify. And now enjoy the show. Nerds. Listener, when it comes to horrible movies, you know that I've got you covered on Cinephobe. We've been doing it for over 250 Cinephobe years. But who do you turn to when you need smart financial decisions? If your answer is our sponsor, NerdWallet, then you're absolutely right. And if it's not, let me change your mind. The nerds at NerdWallet have spent thousands of hours researching and reviewing over 1,300 financial products, and they have the tools you need to make smarter decisions. Looking for a credit card? Go beyond the basic comparisons. Filter for the features that matter to you and read in-depth reviews. Ready to choose a high-yield savings account? Get access to exclusive deals and compare rates, bonuses, and more. House hunting? View today's top mortgage rates for your home sweet home. Make the nerds your go-to resource for smart financial decisions. Head to nerdwallet.com/learn more. NerdWallet. Finance smarter. Disclaimer. NerdWallet compare Inc. NMLS 1617539.
When you listen to Nobody Listens to Paula Poundstone, the comedy podcast, you learn stuff.
I've been learning to throw a boomerang because this is the kind of thing that really gets the listeners engaged,
Interviews with people who will make you smarter.
Does the amount that you learn protect you from cognitive decline?
Paula, don't touch
Can't people just listen to the show? Can't they just enjoy a delightful treehouse full of information? And I think I'm bleeding.
Join us and be a nobody.
Am I the Jerk is a show where we talk about real stories like my stepdad found out that I have a $4 million inheritance and tried to steal it from me when my mom died. Am I the jerk for how far I took my revenge? Or you might even see a story like this. My mother-in-law photoshopped my wedding photos to change my nose. Am I the jerk for what I did in response? So Am I the Jerk is the perfect show to put on in the background while you're driving, studying, drawing, or just chilling out. And the best part is you can send in your own stories from your own life to be featured and discussed on the show. Just subscribe to Am I the Jerk and you'll see how to do that there via amithejerk.com/submit. You can freely share the deepest secrets of your life because you can still remain anonymous when you send in your stories. So either way, subscribe to Am I the Jerk right now before you forget. We'd love to be a part of your daily routine. New episodes every day. Am I the Jerk?
In France, in the 13th century, a teenager ascends the throne. He seems calm, collected, and as it happens, drop-dead gorgeous. But looks can be deceiving, and no one is ready for the death, destruction, and chaos that lie ahead. Step inside the reign of one of the Middle Ages' most cold-blooded rulers on This Is History Presents The Iron King. Available wherever you get your podcasts.
Now you've seen how bad things can get and how quick they can get that way. Well, they can get a whole lot worse. So we're not going to fight anymore.
You think this dude's gonna take Ed down?
MVP is gonna blow Ed out of the water.
He's the most valuable primate.
You betray the law.
I'm sorry, misogynist. Men are hoes too.
You've said hoes 58 times in this episode, and I'm the misogynist?
You unbelievable, man.
Wait, you guys have notes about 9/11 for this movie?
How do you not?
Yap about this and yap about that and yap all night long. Fucking yap.
It was in my dream. That's not how I feel.
It is how you feel. It was in your dream.
Some of us like to be prepared.
How are you not taking accountability for your mind?
Because I know I'm lying. Like, I know for a fact I'm lying.
You sick little bitch.
It was awful. It was incredibly boring. It was long. It was stupid. It was horribly written. The acting was terrible. It was a huge piece of shit. You're a fraud. It's a phobe.
So everybody just be very respectful.
But he's dead now, right? So we can't make fun of him?
Is he dead? No, if he's dead, we can make fun of him. If he's still sick, we can't.
Hold on.
If he's dead, we can make fun of him.
Yeah.
I don't think we can.
Whenever I hear numbers, my head converts them into chess moves or seats at the garden.
I don't know what happened to you, man. You used to be cool, and then you got blarted.
You tried to take AIDS on me in the T-Rex episode?
That's my fault for not remembering what century I was in, bitch.
It's been a good run. Thanks for playing. See you at the eulogy.
Me want the punani.
I don't require Ed to have a condom because I trust him.
Anthony, you're going to be busy today, huh?
Yeah, it's nothing new, chef.
Host! I am an alcohol segregationist.
That thing's gonna move up like R. Kelly.
Salute to all the old ladies around the world. I love you.
You got horses. What you need are thoroughbreds.
Sometimes my emotions are just roaring like a T-Rex.
That's a lot of pussy.
I'm not in here with you. You're in here with me. Well, getting the Cinephobe mailbag started a little early here, believe it or not, as one drunken moose is surely disappointed by this. Wondering what's the latest you've ever been to something important? How about 3 minutes early, one drunken moose?
Yeah.
How about that? So, Amin, this is your first Cinephobe mailbag.
I've never done one of these. I've listened to them in the past, but they've always happened when I was out of town or not available. And this time, the turntables have turned. And Zach is the one who's not here, so I get to experience it in all its glory.
Zach's been way too present for a man on European vacation.
It's not like the past trips, right? Usually when Zach goes on these trips, he's off of a cliff. You don't hear from him. It just reappears when he comes back. He's been sending me memes and everything. I mean, he's like on his phone over there probably just as much as he is when he's here.
He called in to the mailbag on Friday because I think he was excited because my internet dropped 6 minutes in to the mailbag. And then I was telling Eden and Emily that I couldn't get back into the StreamYard to hit stop or end the stream or anything because my internet wasn't working. And Zach suddenly was very intrigued by this. And so he joined the call just to watch.
Not to contribute in any way other than just to...
Well, I couldn't add him. I couldn't add him to the stream.
Is he bored? Or what's happening here?
I don't know, man. I don't know. This is every time he's sending texts like Mo and Katie were talking about some Mormon documentary reality show or something like that, and he's like, I can't wait to get home to watch this. You're in Europe.
Yeah. It doesn't seem like the vacation of his dreams. Now, he started in Amsterdam. He went to Denmark where he saw Brad Williams perform, and now he's in Prague, I believe, which is the
New
scene
Jersey.
of... Yeah, exactly. Bad Company, the location. I thought that's what he was also gonna. I thought he was gonna supposed to go to all these locations. Like when he was in Amsterdam, did he go to any of the places from Deuce Bigalow, European Gigolo? I don't think he did.
Yeah, I don't think he's been doing a Cinephobe road trip, Euro trip, but he did see Brad Williams in Copenhagen, which is pretty cool. If you're gonna go to Copenhagen, you might as well see Brad Williams, see an American comedian, get the real culture.
I love you, Brad, but if I'm gonna go to Copenhagen, number one on my list can't be I gotta go see Brad, who I've seen 5 times at least in the United States. What do you think Brad's act is different? Does he tailor it to a European audience?
It's a great question. I guess we can ask Zach when he's back, but I would imagine he would have to. A
lot of Danish cookies jokes and what's the deal with Greenland being icy and Iceland being green? I don't know.
You go to a slightly different region of the United States, you have to change your act. So
yeah,
I can imagine European Copenhagen would be very different.
I feel like the Europeans though are more. You go to different parts of this country, people are ignorant and I don't know nothing about them references you're making there.
Sure.
Over there, they're like, oh, America, and I feel like they're more up to date.
I mean, I had a friend who went to Monterey. It was hardly a big jump from San Francisco. It's only about 90 minutes away, but it was all older white people who didn't really, had a different sensibility about what stand-up comedy should be like. So I think
shout out to Benjamin Rose in the chat who said septic.
Septic. Vince Jaime wonders if he did a European joke. I doubt it.
Yeah.
All right.
What do we got?
Couple questions. So in the Discord, by the way, everybody in the chat, please submit your questions. I will star them. I'll bring them up on the screen and we will address them one at a time. Real James Cotto from the Discord says, when can we expect another Cinefeud?
Well, we did one technically during the live show.
Yeah, how did you think that went?
Not as good as I thought it would be.
Same. I thought it was going to go a little better.
Yeah.
And as usual, I thought the questions would be easier, and I guess they weren't.
Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe I realize now I was expecting too much of our contestants because I forgot one of the main highlights of Cinefeud is we don't know the answers, and so we fill with shtick. And I think that was unfair of us to put them in a situation where they didn't have the answers, and then obviously they weren't prepared to fill with shtick. So it kind of had a lot of dead spots there, especially for an audience that wasn't a Cinephobe specific audience. There were people there. So, I kind of feel like, I don't know. Do you think if it had been edited, if it had been something that had been taped and edited, it would have went through better?
I don't know that it would have been. I think I just needed to go really dumb with the questions. Even if I had, if I had just described the plot of a movie, or if I had, trying to come up with things that are even more straightforward, what's the movie starring, if it were this week's episode, what's the movie starring Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds, stuff like that. So as always, could have been easier. That's what I tell myself. And then every once in a while, somebody gets all the trivia questions right. I am doing a trivia night on a Monday for the first time, I think, ever tonight. So,
oh wow,
we will have some Monday trivia.
Does the trivia crowd vary from night of the week? Does the Monday crowd, is it different from the Thursday crowd?
We will find out. I mean, it's been Thursday for a long time, and it's been a pretty good turnout, but they had a special event for a bakery that they get their bread from last week, so I got bumped. So I wonder how many people showed up thinking that there was going to be trivia, and I wonder how many people will actually show up tonight.
So what if tonight turns out to be this most extravagant bonanza ever, line around the block and people just clamoring, and do you switch permanently? Do you abandon Thursdays permanently, or do you just say, hey, that was a one-off?
It wouldn't really, it would be fine, yeah, if that was the case. But I think Like they just opened. The restaurant isn't even normally open on Mondays.
Oh,
they just opened a month ago. They decided they're going to open Monday, Tuesday because they normally had those days off. All right.
Cool. All right. What else
F.
we got?
Scott Hollis says, "Who did the Cinephobe theme song? Shit is funky." You can also hear the Cinephobe theme song in the Naked Juice commercials that have been playing. But the name of the Cinephobe theme song is From Kinshasa to Paris.
Oh, wow.
Is the name of it. And I got it off of a royalty-free music site, but it is... Who sings it? David Baluto? There is a vocal section of the song. Let's see if I can pull it up here. It's from the Bibliothèque Afro-Pop album.
Afro-Pop?
So cool.
Do we have an Afrobeat instrumental?
Yep.
We had Afrobeats years before Afrobeats became the genre du jour. Which is funny because it sounds very 80s to my ear. Oh shit! I wonder if they know. Do you think they know
that we are using it for the podcast?
Yeah, that the top 10 TV and film review podcast is using their music.
I think Naked Juice knows. I don't think that was an accident.
You think someone at Naked Juice is a Cinephobe listener and said, as they were searching for new music, that, oh, I think I've heard them mention before it is royalty free. Why don't we just get this nice upbeat music?
You can Shazam it. I think you can Shazam it. But I think it's too random that it ended up as because it's the same loop.
Yeah.
It's the non-vocal part.
Yeah.
It's literally the loop over and over again, which is the same thing that I did.
I kind of like the lyrics. Is that crazy?
It's not crazy, but I don't think they're not Cinephobe lyrics.
No, they're not Cinephobe lyrics.
But yeah, I definitely think Naked Juice is in on this. And yeah, Darkness 3827 says I did play a longer version with some lyrics. That I did blow it out for episode 100. Howard the Duck.
What was that? Howard the Duck? Yeah, I got to go back and listen to that one.
Okay. Somebody asked. Here we go. Brusco asked, "Can we only ask Cinephobe questions or any kind of questions? Any kind of questions, folks.
Sure.
Let it rip."
Yeah.
Felix Ledesma wants some Martin Lawrence movies on Cinephobe. Why haven't we gone to Martin Lawrence, I mean?
I mean, that's a good question. I think the answer is, for me, my backlog. He's definitely on my list. I have a list of movies that I want to do. And he definitely has a bunch of submissions on there. It's just, it's crowded, man. Like, I spent most of 2024 or the first half of 2024 trying to canonize all the non-canon movies. And then we got kind of into, hey, pick whatever you want for a few months. And, I was working through my list, and then we started daisy chaining again. So now it's back to, I got to figure out the right angle to work it in. But yeah, you're right. We're going to get some more Martin Lawrence in there. We got to get some more Seagal in there. We got to get some more Travolta back in there. It's been a while since we went to that one. There's a lot. There's a long backlog.
What's the top Martin Lawrence movie that you would want to pick?
I kind of don't want to give it away.
You don't want to give it away? Okay. Yeah, I think I would want to pick Black Knight.
Yeah, that's the one where he gets transported back in time,
yes,
right?
It's the timeline with Martin Lawrence. I'm interested in that.
Sure.
We love timeline. We love 650 years of knowledge. We love people using their knowledge of the future to defeat medieval knights. All that sounds good to me. Okay. So where is it?
I'll give one that's not. Hold on. I'll give one. The main one I want to do, which I guess people could probably guess, but let me see. Let me go to my list, and I have it organized by actor. So
Chaz Tomato appreciated you canonizing.
Hey, look, and those are great movies. Mighty Ducks. A great episode.
Quack Attack is back, Jack!
Yeah,
what
I can't say
Cinephobe episode do you hate the most and why? The episode.
It's probably going to be something from the beginning. Just to hear us not have the formula down is kind of jarring. To hear us be polite to each other is very jarring.
Mm-hmm.
I can't put my finger on. I would probably say Jupiter Ascending because of the combination of me hating the movie, and also I don't think the episode was really well done. But I think that the episode not being well done is more about we were just too early in our process. We hadn't figured out our voice, so to speak.
Yeah, I never really edited the Great White Hype episode, so I'll say that one.
Ooh, I haven't heard it.
So that one is a Patreon. It's a St. Patrick's Day exclusive. And that is when Jade's nephew, Lucas, was sort of my intern for like 3 weeks. And I was really busy at the time. So I asked him to do the Great White Hype episode.
Mm-hmm.
And he did not do a great job. So if you listen to that and it sounds like pretty odd and like the drops are in weird places and stuff.
Okay. So it is edited. It's just not edited well as opposed
it's edited.
to.
He tried to do what I said, I believe, but I don't think he fully understood or was fully paying attention or whatever. And I never double checked it. So there you go. I don't think I've ever listened to it all the way through after that either.
Yeah.
So the Great White Hype
that one's not going to be. That one's never going to get a wide release.
Probably not. No, I don't think so. Because I'd have to actually do it. But
remastered, you can get a remastered edition.
I've thought of. We have enough new movies and movies we haven't done, but the first like 50 years of Cinephobe could be redone. We could do a year where we redo a year.
Dude, that's like re-record from the ground up.
Re-record.
Ooh,
would you rather re-record or just me re-edit it?
I think it depends. I think 50 years is a long time. Hold on, let me look up because some of them, like for example, I'll tell you. Here's another good one. I don't like our Horrible Bosses episode at all.
Right. So like, would you re-record?
That one I would rather
from the
redo.
jump.
I'd rather redo Horrible Bosses because it was just we didn't understand what we were supposed to do. We just sat there and just said, remember when they did that? And it's a great movie and I get it. We had a lot of enthusiasm, but it's like we didn't do a good job. Showgirls though, which was the episode right before it, I thought we did a good job.
Yeah.
I don't know if that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was long.
Yeah. We probably hit everything we needed to in that. I don't think we necessarily need to re-record it. That is interesting though.
Tango and Cash was well done, I thought. Teen Wolf 2 was well done. Hall Pass was... I think the comedies were the ones where we probably need to do them over.
In terms of doing them over, the main reason would be because it wasn't split audio tracks. It was still you and Zach on the same audio track.
Yeah. I'm looking at like the early ones. Kangaroo Jack, yes. Next, yes. Knowing was probably the first time we figured out there's a little bit of a, but yeah, we probably would do better by redoing it. Never Back Down.
Aaron Patton says that Knowing Day is Wednesday. I mean, will you be observing?
Yeah, I have to Google why Knowing Day is Wednesday, though.
Why?
Does anyone know?
Why Knowing Day? What happened in Knowing on that day? I mean, Jacoby Walker says that Rolling Stone does that all the time with music, give an album 3 stars and then 5 stars 10 to 20 years later. Would you? Yeah, I mean, we kind of do that on the Rewatchingtons where we revise our review at the time, but it's not like I'd be coming back to say, oh, well, now since this is a classic episode, I'm giving it a file.
And hey, no, the purpose for going back and redoing them is to do it better. Not necessarily because the opinion has changed, but our ability to do the review has changed. It's different from what it was. So that would be the reason why. Yeah, I'm now looking at like, what are the ones I would be like, oh man, we got to redo this one.
I would say, I mean, I like the Swordfish episode, but I would redo it because there's so many more drops. I mean, I would redo Teddy Rex. I would redo Gotti and the Fanatic.
Remaster or re-record?
Re-record.
Yeah, I think like Gotti is a good example because I remember from the Rewatchington us discovering Squints.
So many things.
Example.
Well, yeah. I mean, there just weren't that many. Like, there were maybe 3 or 4 clips from an episode, whereas now, if we did Theodore Rex, it'd be 25 to 40 clips. You know. Bingo asks, "Who is your favorite Star Wars character?" I mean,
it's the Man in Black right there. It's Darth Vader, and then I would follow him up with Maul. And then Saw Gerrera is my third favorite. I really like Saw because I think he's so different from everybody else. Most of the people in Star Wars are good guys and bad guys. And Saw is like the first guy that were like, I mean, technically he's a good guy, but man, like you're pushing a lot of envelopes here, my man. And just how someone gets to be that way, like his progress, which in part is why I like Maul and Darth Vader. It's like I like the progress of how they got to where they are versus just like Palpatine, you're bad. Okay, we get it, or
Yeah, when Darth Maul came on the scene, and I was 10 years old at my 10th birthday, that was a game changer. I definitely had a plastic version of his double-sided lightsaber and thought it was the greatest thing ever.
Lights up.
Really shitty though, not like the good lightsabers they have now. Like it lit up, but not for very long. The batteries probably died. I almost certainly broke it. All of that. But original trilogy, I wonder who I liked when I was a kid. I probably like Luke, even though he kind of sucks. He's kind of vanilla and whiny. Yeah, I don't think I was. I mean, I think most people like Han Solo. I don't think I was super Han Solo.
Were you ever a Boba Fett guy? I never understood the fascination with Boba Fett. Like he's
Definitely
cool
not.
and all, but like the way people went nuts for him. And like he has like 3 lines in the whole thing. I just never understood how he became such a huge hit with the fans.
I think I liked R2 and I think I liked Chewbacca from the original trilogy. I also had a soft spot for Sebulba. I've told you this before, but I named my first car Sebulba because it was quite a loud pod racer, and I played a lot of the pod racer video game. Okay, so Arthur Mueller asks, could you re-record a movie that no longer qualifies? Yeah, for sure, because it qualified when we did it.
If we've done a movie, it's done. I don't give a shit what happened to it.
We're not erasing it from the archive.
What movies have we done that don't qualify anymore? Is it Disclosure?
I think Roadhouse moved up. Disclosure bounced back. Bloodsport, I don't think qualifies anymore.
Really?
Yeah, Roadhouse. Oh, that's the new one. Roadhouse, 1989 is up to 44%. Bloodsport is up to 48. Damn.
Wow.
Bloodsport has had 4 positive reviews since 2022 and 1 positive review in 2020. So it's been a real changing of the tides around Bloodsport. Thank God. Vince Jaime is exactly right. I finished knuckle puck practice for an hour and then went to lightsaber practice. I had a very busy extracurricular schedule.
Knuckle puck.
In 4th grade.
Your dad must have been going crazy, man. You're just fucking up the inside of the house.
Just sliding around on my socks, playing sock hockey, practicing the knuckle puck, shouting, "It's knuckle puck time!"
Yeah. Parenthood, man. I swear to God.
Okay. Nick Newport Jr. says, I went through and watched episodes that I had already seen the movie. Some I watched for the first time, then hit the podcast episode. Have yet to watch one during.
That's not really a question.
No, it's not. It's a comment.
No, thanks, Nick.
Okay, we did Star Wars character. Arthur Mueller says, what sport would you use if you went back in time to the 1300s?
Shit.
Besides soccer practice.
Besides soccer, the slide tackle.
Imagine if you had a basketball in the 1300s. Do you think you could impress them with the basketball with dribbling tricks, or like they wouldn't, if you shot it into a basket, no one would care.
No one would care. They wouldn't find anything impressive about that. I wonder, maybe frisbee? Like you just threw a disc and like, ooh, you know.
Yeah, that's interesting. I like
that.
Like
most sports aren't impressive if you think about it. Like they're designed to stop people from fighting and, you know, killing each other. So they're purposely like less impressive. If your entire society was built on who can whoop my ass, like I don't think any sport action would impress them. Like
I know it would. A gun.
Yeah, there you go.
Shooting.
Yeah, that's what, exactly. I would go to 1300 with the machine gun and just
check this out. Check out this wizardry.
Like what was it, Time Cop?
Yep.
It just, dude, man, I wish they'd done that movie. That's a question. What movie would you redo, like if you had the opportunity to?
Like we would make it.
Yes,
like
we would make it. We would, yes.
Yeah, Time Cop's a pretty good one. Because we both wanted this. We wanted a whole lot more time hijinks.
Time heists, man. Like if you
Although
think about
I gotta say, I don't know, did you watch Time Bandits at all on Apple TV? So like Taika Waititi and Jermaine Clement, they made this Time Bandit show, and it's kid friendly because the main character is a kid. So, but the premise is that they go to different periods of time, and you know, they go to medieval Europe, and they go to ancient Egypt, and all that shit. And
what do they do?
They just kind of like try to steal shit and talk to the people there and talk to the rulers, and it's really not that exciting. So that is kind of trying to do what I'm asking for, and it doesn't necessarily pay off. So
Darkness 3827 says remake American Ninja with Steve James as the lead. He is the lead. Why do we need to remake it?
There you go. Problem solved. Hello, listener. Guess who's back? It's me, Anthony Mayes, your favorite butcher turned podcast producer, and I'm here to talk to you about ButcherBox. ButcherBox is the most convenient way to get high quality meat and seafood that you can trust delivered straight to your doorstep, free shipping, vacuum sealed packaging. It's ready to go right then. It's ready to pop in the freezer. You get exclusive member deals and a variety of high quality cuts at an amazing value. Going to the grocery store can be a huge pain. You're usually in a rush at an inconvenient time. You're waiting in line at the meat counter. You're taking a number. Maybe this place doesn't have a number. You're jostling with fellow customers. You're trying to get that ribeye that you want or that nice piece of salmon. Maybe the butcher that you're dealing with has a bad attitude or something. I don't know. That was never me, I promise. But maybe it happens. ButcherBox takes all of that out of the picture. You are always prepared with meat and seafood in the freezer, and you're not going to find quality for this price anywhere else other than ButcherBox. So sign up at butcherbox.com/dings, D-I-N-G-S, and get our special deal. ButcherBox is offering our listeners a free for a year offer plus an additional $20 off. Choose chicken breast, salmon, or ground beef free in every order for a year. That's butcherbox.com/dings, D-I-N-G-S. Hey, it's producer Mays here to talk to you about Factor. Days can be busy. How often have you found yourself at the end of a long day thinking, I wish I had eaten better? Whether it's having trouble finding time to cook, meal prep, or you don't want to spend money on eating out, it seems like there's never enough time to get a quality meal. And that's where Factor comes in. Thanks to the menu of chef-crafted meals with options like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and Keto, Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are dietitian approved and ready to eat in just 2 minutes. So no matter how busy you are, you'll always have time to enjoy nutritious, great tasting meals. Make your day delicious. From breakfast to dessert, stay fueled with easy, nutritious options. And you can keep kitchen time to a minimum. No shopping, prepping, cooking, or cleaning up. It's all ready to go. And you can choose from 6 menu preferences to help you manage calories, maximize protein intake, avoid meat, or simply eat a well-balanced meal. So head to factormeals.com/CTD50 and use code CTD50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month. That's code CTD50 at factormeals.com/CTD50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month while your subscription is active. Ben Terry says, what movie shocked you the most that it fell under 40%? Doesn't have to be a movie that you've covered to this point.
Well, I mean, I think the obvious answer for me is Twins. I legitimately thought, no, there's no chance Twins qualifies. And then we looked it up and it was I still to this day don't understand how Twins ever qualified. I understand how Bloodsport could have qualified. I understand how Roadhouse qualified. I thought Twins was just like, I mean, you think about it, like it made DeVito and Arnold rich beyond their wildest dreams because of the deal that they cut on a napkin, in essence, to get a cut of the gross the first time that kind of deal had ever been done in Hollywood. How could critics not like that movie? What's not to like?
I'm going to go with the entire Broken Lizard crew. I get how some of them might be under, but like Beer Fest and Super Troopers, I don't think that should have been done, but I think that shows that people don't like comedy, but even then, there's still plenty of comedies that are above the bar. I find that a little surprising.
I mean, Horrible Bosses, you could say. But like those movies like Horrible Bosses 2 and Hall Pass and Heartbreak Kid, like I find they're some of my favorite movies. They're hilarious, all that. But you can always lean on like, oh, you know, comedy's subjective, and that's why the critics didn't get it, yada, yada, yada. I stack like Twins. I just don't get how they didn't like it.
Benjamin Rose, I think, is saying something about Judge Dredd not being on the Apple feed, but it is. It's called episode 200. So if you see episode 200, that's Judge Dredd part 1. Because if you'll recall, if you listen to the episode, it is a misdirect. And episode 200 was not announced. So then when we got to episode 200, you get into it, Mike Ryan appears, spoiler alert, and there you go. So Judge Dredd Part 1 is episode 200. One Drunken Moose asks, Zach is a bastard man, why a mean hate?
Editor's note, I got no fucking clue what this means. Thank you, Darkness. I don't know what he means either. If anyone can...
It's Charlie. It's Charlie saying Dennis is a bastard, man. Why Charlie hate? It's because you guys do radio together for multiple hours a week.
So this is a serious question and not just a Sunny reference.
You reject it?
Yeah, I don't think I hate on Zach. I'll tell you what, talks a lot more shit about me when I'm not around than vice versa.
Yep. Chris O'Keefe asks, if you're an American when you go in the bathroom and American when you leave the bathroom, what are you in the bathroom?
Fucking your mom. Well, all right, Chris. I don't know if that was the answer.
It's a riddle that I can't follow.
I think he wants you to say European. When you're in the bathroom.
European.
I like fucking his mom better. In every way.
When on a road trip, from Steven Sanchez, who is in control of the music entertainment? Driver, co-pilot, or owner of the vehicle?
If you own the vehicle and you're not driving, what does that mean? You have a driver? Or like you guys
not your shift.
It's not your shift. I would say whoever's driving has control on a road trip specifically, because the whole idea is like, I don't want to get tired. I don't want to get sleepy. I don't want to get bored. So play whatever keeps me engaged.
Yeah, we've had a couple of these like who gets jurisdiction on road trip. If you have a contentious relationship where someone is either going to be pissed at you playing something when you're driving or insist on playing their own, like, I'm sorry, that's a tough road trip to be on if you're already fighting over who's listening to shit.
So what Mays is saying is basically, if you guys are going to fight over the music, chances are you're fighting on a lot of other shit too. And this isn't someone you want to be locked into a car with for 3+ hours.
Like,
and I got that.
When I'm in a road trip with my dad, I let him listen to whatever he wants. And if I want to listen to something, I'll put on headphones. Like I've tried to play podcasts for him and he doesn't like it. So in that case, I don't want to irritate him. I'll just be like, all right, do your thing. Listen to your NPR or your musicals, whatever.
I feel the impossible dream. I feel like maybe, is this a 21st century man problem, or is this a 2020 CB problem? Because now the ubiquity of everybody has a listening device. Like back in the 20th century, oh, did I bring my Walkman? I forgot. Oh, the Walkman ran out of batteries. Oh, how many CDs or how many tapes can I... Like, it just wasn't convenient enough. But now I literally don't have to engage at all with my environment. I can zone out and put on whatever.
Yeah. I think it was more contentious if you only had CD disc changers, like Jacoby Walker said, or tape decks, or you had to listen to the radio. And if you're listening to the radio... the passenger is probably like playing radio roulette and trying to find something and then changing it. So it's not going to be that long anyways.
Not to mention when you exit like the zone and it's like, it's still fuzzy. Can I still hear it? Can I not hear it? Like, when do you give up on a radio station? That used to be a game we'd play in the 20CB.
Bingo says that he listens to Cinephobe on long road trips. Had to start wearing earbuds because you guys are not family friendly. We know.
Yeah.
Thank you for wearing earbuds around your family.
The disclaimer starts every episode. Don't let your kids listen. Yeah.
That's real. And then there are the people who don't care and do it anyways. Deli Platter, your best friend, Amin, asked, did you expect the pod to last this long?
I definitely didn't have any concept of how long it's going to last. There was a thought I had that, like, what if we run out of movies? That was very early. And then once we got started, like, oh, we're never going to run out. Like, we are never going to run out. And we're never going to hit a point where we're doing obscure movies or like Tubi movies. We don't have to, because there is an endless fountain of shitty. I mean, I feel like I'm just going to turn into Gabriel from Swordfish, right? Just
how many
unremarkable shit.
Did I expect it to last this long? No. I mean, I guess probably when we got to 100, I started thinking, how long can we push this thing? But for the first year, probably for the first 50, I was not necessarily expecting it to. I figured that I guess at any point we might decide not to do it.
I think it's crazy because so few podcasts have longevity, right? When you start thinking about it like that, like what are the podcasts that have longevity? And then of those podcasts, which one of them put out an episode every single week? We haven't officially had a week off since we started.
Yeah. I mean, it's basically because we had a backlog. So if we took a week off, it's because it's a repeat.
Yes. Like you, Zach, can take a week off, but the podcast lives on. And I know people sometimes say, oh, but that was a Patreon episode. It's like, we got what, 300? How many Patreons do we have? And of those people, how many are like listening to Cinephobe? Because some of them are Patreons for other parts of the Count the Dinks family. So when you start to think about it, it's like a Patreon episode at best gets about 300 some odd downloads, right?
Truth Teller says that hat needs a week off.
Hey man, it's hat week. So the moment we take a Patreon episode and make it public, we're basically blowing it out. Basically, you're getting 10 times as many ears on it. So yeah, like every week we're putting out new content for the majority of our listeners.
Yeah, and there's people who don't like the 2-part episodes. There's people who say just take a week off instead. There's people who say don't put the Patreon episode there, just take a week off instead. No, because if we put out an episode, it keeps the train rolling. Like we need downloads, we need clicks, we need advertisers. So like all that needs to keep going. That's why there will always be an episode every week.
And the algorithm rewards consistency. So.
But yeah, in terms of podcasts having longevity, like Ian Carmel and All Fantasy Everything have been going for 8 years or something like that. Like they've really been going. And that's one of the few podcasts that I listen to that's not just like, Talking Head X, that actually has like a group of people coming together to make episodes every week.
We started in 2018, I want to say.
2019.
2019. Is that because I know whatever you see on Spotify is not the correct start date.
Because it started on Patreon only, but we recorded Kangaroo Jack 2 in May 2019.
May 2019. So we are, what's that? 5.5 years old now?
5.5. Yep.
Or,
it's putting up numbers. Truth Teller says, is this the pod that y'all look forward to compared to all the other work you do?
Probably not for Mays. This is the pod that you got to do the most work on.
Yeah, I mean, compared to all the other work I do, I do by far the most work on this. So I don't know. It depends, man. If the movie was like Karate Kid 3, yeah, I look forward to it. Yeah. If the movie was, Men at Work, not so much. It doesn't end up being like sometimes it's like, okay, I have to watch this movie, and I kind of dread that, and then I have to record and I have to hear praise for something that was a piece of shit. Like, yeah, that might not be something, and then I have to circle back and edit and listen again to that. That can be bad.
I think I would say, yeah, it's the one that I look forward to the most. Mostly because it's funny how often it comes up in conversation where I can quote a movie that's terrible, and not obscure, but like, yo, I haven't even thought of that movie in 100 years. What made you even think of that exact quote? And I'm like, yeah, because we just did it for Cinephobe.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a part of it where it feels like I can use this in my everyday life. And I think the other thing is just the surprise that I don't know what I enjoy more, when we all arrive at the same conclusion about something independently, or when we have three wildly different takes on the same thing. Both of those occurrences, I think, really is what makes making the podcast fun for me.
All right. Mr. South Beach says, give us a secret about Zach. So Zach blocked a movie. I'm not going to say what movie. I'm not going to say when. But
I was like, what?
He got really, really serious.
Not for colored. Not for colored.
Not
girls.
FCG. He actually blocked that on the pod. That wouldn't be a secret. This is a secret. But I didn't know how serious he was, because I could never tell that he would be serious about anything. But he was very serious about this, and he refused. He refused to do this movie, and we ended up with a different movie, and we went in a different path.
He called you, right? He called you on the phone.
I think eventually I called him.
Or what? You guys spoke on the phone. That's
we spoke on the phone because he thought that I was like fucking with him and like being purposely antagonistic, when all I was saying was like, why? Like, what is the reasoning behind this? Why don't you want to do this movie? But
Can you tell us that Schindler's List?
There's a movie that we won't do because Zach doesn't want us to do it.
I kind of want to do the movie, by the way.
I want to do it too. I didn't pick it to be malicious. I thought it would be a good episode.
It would be such a great episode.
But Zach said no.
Zach drew the line in this.
It was a secret.
Oh my God.
Do you have a Zach secret?
A Zach secret. I think I don't know. I don't keep secrets about Zach. I give them all out. I think I told the story about how Zach got upset. This is before Cinephobe. Like, me and Zach knew each other, and like, we joke around and stuff, but like, we're not as close as we are now. Obviously, we hadn't worked on Sirius XM before as we do now, and we'd done any podcasting really. I was watching a Timberwolves game, and they had like the shot of like a reverse angle, so you could see behind the basket. In the background, you saw the media sitting, and there's a larger guy with a beard. And I said, wow, Zach Harper really let himself go. And it's the usual busting balls. And Zach was like, that's not funny. And he's like, I guess that guy was his friend. And he was like, that guy, he's been through like quite the weight loss journey. And I'm like, dude, it's just a fucking joke. I don't know him. He's like, he's not a big deal, whatever. And Zach was just so upset that like he wouldn't talk to me. And so Ethan was like, yeah, Zach, Ethan was the one that explained it to me, because Zach was just like kind of so uptight about it. And Ethan was like, yeah, man, I think if you just apologize, like it'll be cool. And I laughed, like, oh, I'm not going to apologize. and I never apologized. And so I was right. But he was upset. He was like legitimately upset. This did it.
Okay. Scott Kirkland asks, how fucked up is the timeline still? So it's actually about to be the least fucked that it's been once Zach gets back from Europe. But once Zach gets back from Europe, we'll only be 2 weeks back. Right now we're like a month off. Right now, the X-Men Origins episode that's about to come out, the Wolverine episode, was recorded a month ago.
I was listening to Karate Kid 3, and we're making references to Team USA like in the semifinal, like, which is absurd. That's a long time ago.
So we built quite a buffer, but we will be slowly working back at a more reasonable gap of like 2 weeks once Zach is back from Europe. But this is the most furthest out we've been from record 2 episode.
Can I ask a question to the audience? Audience, here's a question for you. Is it obvious to you guys? Obviously, like, you know, when we make specific references like Team USA or whatever, but is your experience changed in any way that like we're not in the here and now, that we've recorded into the future? And if so, how?
They're saying yes. The audience participation. Yes. Audience participation.
The timeline legit makes no difference
asks
to me
who wins the
whatsoever.
election. We'll tell you in 3 months. We'll let it come out by then.
Like, does it? I'm not saying it makes it worse or makes it better. I'm trying to just Haktua. Okay, that's a good example. All right, when we make a clearly of the moment reference.
I like the occasional one. I like
the reminder
that much. Yeah,
I do like the reminder of like, oh shit, remember when that was a thing?
And sometimes it's like Team USA. It's like, all right, everybody remembers that. But sometimes it might be something that was really flash in the pan that's already out of the consciousness. And that is,
and people don't even
funnier.
know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Like
you miss it at the time.
Give me my money.
Yep. I'm from the future myself, so it's a normal day for me, says Waffles Pickles.
Good job, Waffles Pickles.
Chaz Tomato says it doesn't affect the listening experience. Polo Nuggets thinks the Easter eggs like the wedding are fun. The wedding that felt like it lasted forever.
The wedding was, dude, I was surprised to still hear wedding content in Karate Kid. Look, we're still at the wedding? This is still happening.
Jacoby Walker says having a vault is awesome because y'all drop references accidentally before an episode of CT5 release. Yeah, the CT5's definitely extra complicated.
That's what fucks up the timeline more than anything. CT5s.
But
because
since a lot of the Cinephobe is evergreen, having a topical reference also kind of marks it in time if you're listening years later, you know?
Right.
So that's kind of cool. But there's not too much of it.
What do you think? I feel like something that happens a lot. The biggest issue is when doing CT5s and you want to rank something from the movie we just did.
Yeah.
Like, I can't remember which one it was. I want to say there was something that when we taped Karate Kid, the CT5 around that time, we're like, oh, we got to include it. And we're like, no, we can't because it's not out yet.
I mean, when the slide tackle happened, I wanted to put that. I would put that as my golden dumpster 2023, but I guess that was already like the year end. But I could have sworn there's been episodes we've done where I'm like, okay, this is now a CT5 topic, but we can't do it until this episode comes out in a month. All right. Darkness 3827. Have y'all heard of the movie Neo Ned? It's about a neo-Nazi Jeremy Renner and Gabrielle Union that thinks she's Hitler falling in love. It doesn't qualify, but we can make it.
I have heard of it. It came out like 2 or 3 years ago, I want to say. Maybe it was like during the pandemic. But it was like, it's in that sweet spot of like terrible movie.
It's from 2005.
Oh, is it? Maybe I heard about it like 3 or 4 years ago. But it's in the sweet spot of terrible movie, but not terrible enough to qualify.
Because somehow 4 people gave it a positive review. Believe it or not.
Evan Lark with perhaps the most racist question of the day. Is that a soul plane commemorative portrait in Amin's background? I feel like I've done so many things with this in my background that's like, I referenced it earlier today. I said the Man in Black is my favorite. I don't know why you would go with Soul Plane. I mean, Schindler's List would have been funnier, I think, but okay.
Mr. South Beach wants an extended cold close. No,
dude,
they're already long enough.
They don't really run that long.
Yeah, like
our closes. I've
never trimmed a bunch of stuff out of the close. Like we pick the movie and then we move on.
Like this, like honestly, this is exactly unedited how it goes. Motherfucker, full profile. Everyone gives their full profile, and then after like the last person, we're like, all right, what do you got next? There's no transition. I know we play music on the outro and then come back on the other side, and it makes it seem like a lot has happened. Nothing has happened. We're just going from one to the other. At that point, we've been on for 3 hours talking to each other. Nobody wants to talk more. Like, we want to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. Or there's a hard out or whatever.
Yeah.
Brave Sir Robin, if you could spend one full day with the Cinephobe character, who would it be and what would you do that day? CT5, make a wish.
Sydney Sweeney.
Well, what would you do? I mean, CPR?
Yeah, you're doing it wrong. Like this.
CT5, make a wish. One full day. I mean, we know Zach would say play baseball with Ed.
Cats. Play cats.
Eat some pink ice cream. Drink 2 liters of soda. Get diabetes. Man, I mean, I feel like hanging out with Terry Silver and doing cocaine and plutonium deals and maybe some karate training. That's super recency bias. I like that, Johnny. But
I know. Oh my God. What a golden dumpster moment, man.
I don't know who else. I mean, there's so many. Hanging out with Pretzi, he could show me around New York. That'd be fun because he knows where to get all the pretzels.
Brusco said I'd fuck Kate, Beckinsale, and Tiptoes. Like those are 3 different people.
Beckinsale and Tiptoes. It's a 4-way.
Who's Tiptoes, by the way?
Oh man, is that Gary Oldman? Benjamin Rose says, "Have Helen Hunt teach me to drive."
Oh my God.
Truth Teller wants to do 8 heists with Liam Neeson and Honest Thief. Do you think Louis Pinnock would freak out if he was transported to a reality that didn't change sides? Yes.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Louis
man.
Pinnock lived in
our world.
Reality.
He'd be like, he'd have PTSD, you know?
I think he'd just hang out like in the hood. Like that transition wouldn't happen for him. He'd just hang with the other ignorant motherfuckers. Does Amin still have a man crush on Paul Bettany? Angels, hey man. Like, does that go away?
Yeah, you the ignorant motherfucker.
Yeah.
Super delayed on that. I mean, yeah, we'll have to do another Paul Bettany movie and find out if that's the case.
Oh, I gotta
Scott Kirkland. Are you bothered that there's a movie called Priest with Paul Bettany that definitely qualifies because I know we were talking about it at the time where he plays like an action priest. Scott Kirkland, Are you bothered that modern movies seem to be rigging their Rotten Tomatoes scores, robbing what should be classic Cinephobe movies?
Yes. I talked about this. I can't remember what episode we were talking about, but the first time I saw the trailer for The Beekeeper with Statham, I was like, guys, buckle in. We're about to have a fucking ball with this one. This is going to be like an all-time Cinephobe episode. And then it came out, and the reviews were all glowing. And I was like, wow, maybe it's a really good movie, and the trailer misled me. Then I watched it, and I was like, nope, it's exactly what I thought it was. It's every bit of a ridiculous movie. It's, movies that would have been kind of disregarded, but now because there's so many more reviewers, and they like the campy stuff, I feel like that's why we're getting where we got. So, I don't know. I would say yes. I think there's a class, a legion of these reviewers, which I guess we're part of, right? Because if we ever got certified by Rotten Tomatoes, they would have us filing, Men at Work and movies like that. So I don't know. I it's one of those things where like, yes, it's a problem, and I realize we're part of the problem.
I don't think it's affecting too many. I don't think that there's sometimes there is clear Rotten Tomatoes manipulation, but I don't think it's such an overwhelming percent of movies that it's like really fucking us up, because there's still new movies that come out all the time that aren't right. Hitting it. But
like Mordecai, which came out in 2015, and
like Argyle this year. I mean,
Argyle, yeah.
like Badlands.
I think
if they could have bought bots for Badlands, or is it Badlands? What am I thinking of?
Yeah, the one with the video game one with Kevin Hart and Borderlands,
yeah. Not Badlands.
So I would say this.
Why did that get bad reviews if it's got a bunch of money behind it?
Big budget, like Hollywood put its muscle behind it. No one likes that. Like Borderlands, they clearly trying to rip off IP and shit. Argyle, also kind of an IP driven, big blockbuster budget, whatever. I think a movie like Beekeeper, it kind of knows what it is. Mm-hmm. It's not trying to be this huge blockbuster movie, and so as a result, it gets more of the benefit of the doubt, I think, from the reviewers, that it wouldn't have gotten like 20 years ago or 15 years ago. Yeah, Benny's got a lot. Shit, I gotta go through these.
Is it a compliment that I fall asleep listening to old episodes of the pod, says Aaron Patton. It's always surprising to me that that's somebody's sleep show, because it feels like it's pretty hectic. I like to listen to boring podcasts when I go to sleep because I'm trying to fall asleep, but we appreciate it because it spikes those numbers.
Yep. If all of you want to go to bed and just turn on Cinephobe when you go to bed, I'm with it, man.
Just play it for 8 hours while you sleep. Yep. Don't even have headphones in. Just play it on mute.
Yep.
That works great. From Foresight, what is the most ridiculous thing you have bought just to show support towards a musical act, artist, potential partner, podcast collective, Derek, spelled quite oddly, etc.?
Show support.
I mean, you buy a lot of merch and shirts and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, most of them aren't ridiculous. I was going to say my banana shirt is probably pretty ridiculous, but I wasn't doing that to support so much. I was supporting our podcast. Like a potential partner. So like I'm trying to date someone and I'm trying to, what if dinner?
I remember going to Eric Andre's comedy show. And first of all, he does the live on stage ranch chugging contest. I mean, one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen in my life. And there was a guy,
does the chugging?
2 people from the crowd, and they brought this guy up, and he clearly had been practicing because he slammed that ranch in about 15 seconds and then spiked the bottle. Full ranch, gosh. Full bottle of ranch.
Paul Newman's like.
And Eric Andre had grinders that said ranch on it. And I think I bought one, but it was a shitty grinder. It wasn't even a good one.
It doesn't really answer the question, but kind of related to that. I remember one time, this is years and years and years ago, I was telling people at work, man, Polynesian sauce, love Polynesian sauce. I wish I want to drink it. And someone said, why don't you drink it then? I was like, oh yeah? And I was like, yo, this shit is delicious. Of course I can drink it. And I fucking cracked one open. And I tried to drink just a little packet. And let me tell you, it's a lot harder than it looks. When it's not mixed with anything else, it's just pure Polynesian sauce, it's a little much.
The Chaz Tomato says, would you guys ever consider getting one of the staple reviewers, Cuck O'Leary, Nell Minnow, The Goat, Tony Medley, etc., on the show? I wanted to find Tony Medley. For at least 2 years, I was trying any avenue to figure out how we could send Zach to find him. And Zach's like, oh, he probably goes to my Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
And all that shit. But absolutely, like Cuck O'Leary, Tony Medley, Caffeinated Clint.
Yeah.
Brian Orndorff.
Oh, that fucking.
What
Michael Dacina?
I'm open to any of them. If anybody wants to reach out to any of those guys and say, hey, you're a low-key celebrity on this podcast that I listen to, we encourage that for sure. I did have there was one reviewer guy that followed me that I messaged and I tried to convince him to give something a bad review one time so that we could get it to qualify. I think it was Zorro and the Gay Blade, and he didn't do it.
Did he say no, or he just didn't do it?
I just didn't follow up with him enough, and he was like, yeah, for sure, and then he never did.
Oh, okay. Probably ruined the relationship right there.
100%. Also, he was only into horror movies, so I don't think he was going to watch that for us. What are the conversations you guys have had to justify watching movies above the 40/40 score limit, if any? Trip TV, we haven't done it, so none.
Yep.
And
it's something we get a lot of questions about, but we've never done it. I personally have learned to love that because now it allows me to watch movies. It's really hard to see a movie and be like, I want to watch it, and then see it's 39%. I'm like, well, fuck, now I should probably save it because otherwise I don't want to have to rewatch this again in a month or whatever. So when I see a movie that's 60%, I'm like, oh, perfect. I can watch this and not have to feel any guilt that I have to kind of oh man, I gotta keep notes on this or whatever.
Mr. South Beach wants to know, when is Dan getting on the show? But what movie would you pick for Dan Le Batard?
Ooh, that's a good question. What movie would we pick for Dan Le Batard? Dan's problem is he doesn't like any movie that's not based on any sort of realism. So any sort of sci-fi, any sort of fantasy, any none of that. He needs the movies he'll watch are Schindler's List. No, you get what I'm saying.
What if we got Dan to do Walking Tall with The Rock and clipped what's the end game Spence 59 times into the episode?
Just keep running the drop over and over again.
Yeah. Where did this one go? Iron Salamander asks, will you have Neri Sands again? Absolutely. Neri was a great guest.
I peel back behind the curtain. The guest episodes are very long and hard for Mace to edit, so we've purposefully taken our foot off the gas on guests simply because just to give Mace a little bit of peace of mind here in the summer months. We're gonna have guests again. It's coming back, and Neri's he's solidified himself as repeat offender status.
Yeah, it's tough because we want to have guests, but we also want to do the normal process for a movie. And both of those things add up to just a lot of recording. So what we've been doing is the hour-long session with the guests that kind of recaps the recap. There's a little redundancy there. It's not perfect, but I think we have, there's guests like Roy who have been on so many times and know the show and know what we do. And then anytime there's a new guest, I'm a little trepidatious about it, but I think Neri would be solid to do the normal rundown with him.
Do you think we should go back to, and this is open to the audience as well, what do you guys think? Go back to the addendum episodes where it's not kind of embedded into the main episode, but it's just something that we do a second episode that week of, kind of like what we did with Stugatz and who else did we do?
Valerie.
With Valerie, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what we've been doing, but it's it's just the part 2 is the addendum built in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've thought about it might be cool to bring somebody on to talk about a couple movies that we've already done in the past, and get more of a roundabout. But That is always something we're trying to fine tune. Do you guys respect the Boulevard? Says Chad Steffen. Do you?
Well, I respect the Boulevard and I respect the fans, unlike Zach Harper.
You don't respect the Boulevard and you don't respect the fans.
I don't respect the Boulevard, man. The Boulevard is trash. I mean, I've never had a good experience out there, so I'm going to say no.
It is a weird, like, if you've never been, it is unlike anything you would ever imagine. Like, you think it's like Times Square, and it's not. It's like Times Square from like the 90s. Or
and it's
like
like
the 80s.
Times Square if it was not nearly as busy. Not even close.
Yeah. Because everyone locally knows, like,
don't go
you
there.
Don't go to the Boulevard. Yeah.
Ben Terry says, how often does Boogie interrupt the recording, Maze? I mean, Boogie's been pretty well behaved. I don't think there's been a whole lot of Boogie, because normally I'll leave it in.
It's usually usually there's a delivery, right? Like that's 99% of the time is delivery, and that's when he goes off. Or there's Zach used to have like an asshole neighbor dog or whatever. That
Boogie would get excited to see go by. What happened to the For Color Girls episode? Asked 6323. I mean, it got blocked, man. Amin and I both took notes and watched it, which is still just a bummer for everybody.
Zach
involved. Zach Harper happened. Any more special episodes? Says Mr. South Beach. I mean, we blew through all the holidays. I don't think there's one. I don't know how I did an extra episode every month, but I was editing less at that point. And two, I don't know what other special circumstances would require an episode. I mean,
like he's talking about a Patreon exclusive episode.
Or like a theme episode or something.
I mean, I think we kind of replaced those with the rewatchingtons, right? That's basically what happened.
Yeah, which I think is actually like an awesome way to both revisit old stuff and to engage with the fans.
Yeah. I mean, I think rewatchingtons are way better than having an episode that only 300 people get access to.
Yeah.
You know? Or whatever the number is. It's not, I don't know what the number is, but you get my point.
People say we need a glossary update. I mean, if you want a glossary update and you're in the Discord, start making a list of the terms you want defined. Because that's the thing is I don't even know how to process the things we do in real time that need explanation to somebody down the line. Like, put it together. We'll do it.
I've thought about it, and the biggest thing I keep running into is like, oh wait, did we already define this or not? So, I don't know. But yes, I mean, at some point we do need to update the glossary. But like May said, you let us know start making a list of things that need to be defined.
And then help me find where it got introduced, other people in the Discord, because that's how we did it before. It was a great team effort. 716, have you guys thought about a CT5 best, worst athletes of Cinephobe characters? Liam Neeson ambling around in one of those lists.
Oh, I thought he meant like actual athletes, the characters. So like Johnny B. Good versus Ed. Like that.
We already know Zach's number one. But I like I mean, I think he's kind of asking that because I think Liam trying to run in just about any of these movies would make him one of the worst athletes.
But he's not an athlete, right? Like, I mean,
least athletic characters.
Yeah, wouldn't I don't know, Mr. Magoo be less athletic?
That's
I don't
true.
know. Like I feel.
It's a good point. Jacoby Walker asks if there's a 3-part episode in the vault or always 1 or 2 parts. It's always 1 or 2 parts.
It's not by design. Like
we
we want them all to be 1-part episodes. It's just some of them run long. But I think like Karate Kid is a 2-hour 20. That's one of the longer ones we've had recently. Right, 2:23 I think was Karate Kid.
Yeah. I mean, we just had a couple in a row there were on the shorter end, Dirty Work, and The Pest were shorter. Anytime we finish a recording in around 2 hours, I am thrilled about it. So it's once it creeps over to like 2.5, that's when it gets pretty rough. Arthur Mueller says, Amin, can you canonize Jingle All the Way to an Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter? We did them on playback, but not real episodes.
I suggested this and I got met with great resistance. I said, man, I don't know. Maybe that episode hasn't come out yet, but we mentioned Jingle All the Way too. And I said, yeah, we got to canonize that. And Zach and Mayes both were like, absolutely not. So
I just don't want to watch that movie again. I'd consider Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. It still wasn't a great movie, but it was more entertaining than Jingle All the Way too, for sure.
What are you swinging that axe around, man?
That's still in the Discord. People still post that GIF in the Discord every once in a while. Brave Sir Robin says, with 236 years of Cinephobe eligible movies ascertained, do you feel that Hollywood overall is beyond redemption on producing decent and or original movies today? Why or why not?
So there's a business reason behind all of this, right? Once upon a time, I heard Matt Damon describe this. Once upon a time, you could make a movie that wouldn't do well at the box office or would do modestly well at the box office. But then the DVD sales, the physical media sale, home media sales would like make a killing. So Half Baked is a great example. Half Baked made, how much did Half Baked make at the box office?
Not a lot.
Box office.
It made
$17.5 million.
17.5.
Right. So that would be considered a failure, right? Or at least for of an $8 million budget, and they say usually you double it to get the marketing budget. So somewhere between 13 and $16 million was the overall budget. They made $17 million. Wasn't worth it, but then it sold a shit ton in DVDs, so it makes it way more than worth it, right? That's how all those R-rated movies got made. Because they knew, hey, we're not going to do great at the box office. We hope we do great. We hope we have like a super bad or whatever, but we get a Starsky and Hutch. Like, it'll do all right, but then DVD sales will carry it. But as streaming has happened, less and less people are buying physical copies. And on streaming, you make a fraction of what you made on physical copies because, again, that's like, how do you attribute someone's $9.99 a month to them watching this movie? So as a result, it is way less profitable for the studios to make movies that aren't going to do well at the box office. And that's killed all of these movies. That and then the IP part is just, it's derivative of that, but I think they're just being lazy and scared. And as is most of the case, most execs don't know what's good and what's not. So I think those two things combined have killed a lot of the original movies that you wish you could see.
I mean, I think with most of this stuff, it's just so far down the line that changing the fundamental processes of how movies get made is pretty impossible. Like, I think independent movies are still getting made and there still are the margins of this stuff. They're just getting smaller and smaller every year as, like Amin was talking about, like things have to be designed to fit algorithms that people think people will go to the movie theaters to see. And that's getting harder and harder. Streaming is not lucrative. Like the whole Disney Plus emphasis on streaming that happened in COVID has cost them almost billions at this point. Mm-hmm. Like things getting produced highly expensive that go straight to streaming, and then that doesn't really make any money for them. Like people have Disney Plus already. It's not like people are signing up just for Disney Plus to watch The Acolyte, for example. So I don't think that it's beyond redemption, but I think they're just harder to find, and there's less attention being brought to them. The Chaz Tomato wants to know if the Patreons will ever get to choose a movie again. No, I fucked it up. Sorry.
Teddy Rex.
1 for 1 with the listeners. Teddy Rex was the choice. It's never happening.
You know what I love to think of? Like the listeners who like weren't even around for that.
Nope.
Like they started listening to Cinephobe last year or whatever.
Yep.
And they're like, who is this Ike? The legend of Ike.
Ike will drop back into the Discord after a couple months off, and he'll have lost all of his privileges, so he can't get in the right chats, and he needs to be redeemed. But yeah, he's a Cinephobe legend, Ike. He's a Count the Dings legend. I mean, he was from the very early live shows. Ryan McCoy wants to know what editing software I use. I use Final Cut Pro. It's a video editor, but I just started using it for audio. It works really well for audio. Evan Lark, is ope a cinephobe term? No clue what that means. I mean, that'll be a fun glossary one day, but Zach revealed, and I mean, it's not a secret, I guess, unless you live in that part of the country, but it's a Minnesota thing.
Yeah.
It's a Minnesota reaction. It's just, it doesn't necessarily mean that someone said something inappropriate like Zach has turned it into, but it's just something that people say to fill the time. Like, gosh, probably. Oh.
I once dated a girl who was from Wisconsin, which is around the same thing. And it would be something like, you know, walking out the door, forgot her keys. But it's the way, yeah, it's ope. It is very, the O is very pronounced.
Burn Notice wants to know when we will get Deep Water. That's that horny Ben Affleck movie. Well, he's single again, guys, so maybe we'll get to that. Darkness also wanted to know, could you please add in Whitest Kids You Know clips to the show? Some great ones, particularly The Grapist and How Lincoln Really Died. So
that's a show I never watched.
Yeah, unless I watch it, I'm not going to have the frame of reference to clip it in. I appreciate you sending the clips in later, but as we've established, that could be months later. So it's not really going to get it in time for the episode. Chris O'Keefe just finished the Scary Movie 3 episode. We hated that episode. We sure did.
I can't even remember. I haven't listened to that one.
But that's still the first Scary Movie that I watched.
Oh. And the only? Or have you watched more since then?
I've watched the original since then. Is there any movie so bad that you refuse to review it? I mean, I said that Zach secretly blocked one. And Amin has said that he doesn't want to do too many that How Did This Get Made has already done.
Well, I don't want, Mac and Me is like the Conan O'Brien had the whole thing where they kept playing. I just feel like it's been done over. Same thing with The Room. It's The Room?
Yeah, The Room.
Yeah, the Room. Like they're just like I find more fun in us finding these movies than finding something that's just out there that's already had the works done to it. So we can do, obviously this crossover between us and How Did This Get Made.
They just did a Troll 2 stream last week. Yeah.
Yep. So I mean, that's gonna happen. But
that's the ones that are like so famously bad are the ones that you don't want to do because you feel like it's already been done.
Right, I don't want anything to be famously bad. I want something bad, and we point out how bad it is.
Who hates the pod the most between the three of you?
Maze, for sure.
Yeah, me. It's definitely me.
It's definitely Maze.
That's not really that competitive, I don't think. Felix wants to know, what kind of movie would you guys make if you could? Like heist, superhero. What would Cinephobe create, and will it be a phobe or a file? We're doing it together? Or are we doing it separately? Coming of age.
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah. I think a Cinephobe heist movie is the right answer. I think we need a crew, one last job. Come on, all the tropes. Dangerous nights, exposition. That's one I think we could collaborate on. I think we would all have good things to bring to that. Because, like, would you say Horrible Bosses 2 is a heist movie?
I mean, I guess it's a kidnapping.
Like the first one, I guess, is more of a heist movie, but they're both heist movies, heist comedies. That's what we would do. We'd create a slashy genre like IMDb, a heist comedy.
What's that one that had like 8? Oh, we haven't done it yet. Damn, it hasn't been released. You know the one I'm talking about, right?
No, I think it's. Wasn't it? It was Karate Kid 3. I thought it was like crazy.
Oh man, I'm thinking of something else then.
Well, I mean, Zach, like IMDb had a whole bunch of different genres that it threw out as well. So, yeah, I don't think it's accurate. Darkness 3827, Cinephobe making takers would be so funny.
We're takers, gents. That's what we do for a living. We take.
I'm still shocked that Zach phobed that one.
Yeah. It was. The Zach phobes are always weird because he doesn't phobe much. So when he puts his foot down and decides something he doesn't like, sometimes it seems a little arbitrary. Dave wonders if there's a reason we haven't done Tommy Boy. I've thought about picking it. It's Tom Haberstrow's favorite movie, so we'd have to get him for that. But it's just not one of my favorites, but it should probably be done.
I know why I haven't picked it.
Because you don't like Chris Farley?
Exactly, because it's not funny.
There you go. So you can look forward to that energy on the future Tommy Boy episode. Okay. Ethan C. wants us to do the 1993 Three Musketeers with Tim Curry, Chris O'Donnell. I mean, yeah. There's multiple Three Musketeers. I think Charlie Sheen is in that one. There's a lot of talent on the board.
Do
for
any of them attempt an accent?
I'm sure Tim Curry's out there Frenching it up like crazy, and I'm sure Charlie Sheen does something bad. Is Baxter different than Boogie? No. Baxter is Boogie. Baxter is also from Anchorman. It's a reference. How long does it take for you to edit the pod? A disgustingly long amount of time. I'm spending too much time on it. For sure. I shouldn't spend as much time.
Gross. He shits on himself when he does it.
I sit in my own filth. Was there ever a movie that you thought wasn't good, but the premise alone was great?
The movie wasn't good, but the premise was great. I mean, Good Luck Chuck. I think you could have made Good Luck Chuck and made it good.
Fantastic Four.
Fantastic Four, obviously. Although remember, I came to the conclusion that it's impossible to make a good Fantastic Four because the comic book itself is so ridiculous. Like, again, like, hey, I'm this brilliant scientist. The army said I can't do this experiment, but I'm going to do it anyway. Like, how much security? We just like one guard, one MP out front, and that's it. And then my girlfriend says, hey, if you're going to do this, I can't let you do it. I'm coming too. And then her little brother says, hey, I can't let my sister. Like, it just doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
I remember thinking that maybe 3,000 Miles to Graceland would be good. It really wasn't.
Reindeer Games could have been better.
Games. Smoking Aces seems like it should have been cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I don't. In terms of like pure premise, usually that is if the premise is that good, like I think this premise for sudden death is super good. That's usually enough to propel it to being a good movie. Like, could it have been better? Sure, but I still think it was pretty damn good, and it's because bomb at Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals. That's enough right there.
It's the 7th game of the Stanley Cup.
Excuse me. Pardon me. Darkness from We Gotta Fled wants to know, for Amin, has there ever been something on the pod that you were surprised when Mayes supercharged, or the reverse, surprised when Mayes didn't supercharge it?
Not surprised at anything he's supercharged, because usually it's consensus, hey, you need to supercharge this. But there was like once or twice where I think it was It was the episode where I was referencing Bangkok Danger. All right, we're all friends here. I'll tell you. I'll let you know the joke. I guess, should I reveal this? This isn't even a Patreon thing. I feel bad.
I mean, is it? I think we know what you're saying. It's about the Bangkok Dangerous episode.
It's enough. There's enough circumstantial evidence there for you to piece together the joke I'm making, right? And then I did that in the Bangkok Dangerous episode. And then later on, there was a character who had the same traits as the character from Bangkok Dangerous. And so I told Mayes to clip that supercharged description that I had from Bangkok Dangerous, which he did. But then later in the movie, in that episode where I've called for this, he just allows it to slide that I'm talking about deaf people. And that's as much breadcrumbs as I'm going to give you.
Amin, do you like voice-activated remotes?
No, I don't use them. I don't believe in them.
Yeah, I don't like them either, Steven Sanchez. I just don't like Siri at all, so I'm not doing anything voice activation.
Yeah, I don't use Siri, and I think that usually, well, I don't think this, I know this, that's how they collect data on you. When you opt in to Alexa, to Siri, to Google Assistant or whatever, anything when you're talking to your remote, you're basically allowing them, you are giving them permission to keep that mic on even when you're not using it, and that's how they collect data on you. And so I don't know why that's where I draw the line on collecting data on me, but I do.
Adam Jameson wants to know when we're gonna do a rewatchington for Snake Eyes. I don't know, but I'll put it on the list. The next two rewatchingtons I have written down are Heart Condition and Catwoman, so that should be two bangers right there.
Nice.
Stay tuned for that. What movie is the most Cinephobe movie not to qualify? Jordan Krejci votes Any Given Sunday.
We did a CT5 on this.
Yeah, I mean we did ones that we wanted to do. I would say Deadpool and Wolverine is a Cinephobia ass movie.
You think it is?
Just
because of References or
Louis Pinnox, the references. I thought we could have, if that movie was done, we'd have 20 drops for the next.
I mean, we're still gonna
year.
have the drops, right?
We can still have the drops, yeah. I mean, there's gonna be some drops in this X-Men Wolverine episode, but it's still not great quality. But like the main thing, I mean, is because Deadpool is constantly pointing out to you movie tropes.
Right.
So he's calling out exposition, he's calling out dialect coach, he's calling out you name it, and all that could be applied.
He's kind of doing our job at that point, right?
Exactly. Which makes it a Cinephobia ass movie. It's like watching Deadpool is like getting the Cinephobe episode built in as a commentary track.
Right. I guess. For me, I guess I've said it. Escape Plan, man. Like that's a movie. Like that movie was made for or Beekeeper. Beekeeper was made for Cinephobe, and it kills me that it's never going to qualify.
Darkness's pick is The Fifth Element. Great, but there's so many Cinephobe type things like Ian Holm calling Bruce Willis by his real name rather than his character's name.
He calls him Bruce?
I don't remember that.
I don't remember that either.
Trip TV wants us to do Enough with Jennifer Lopez. Yeah. I mean, we'll really enjoy that.
It's on the list. Let me just say, it's a very robust list, folks.
And the chat tomato says, "What is Rebel Wilson's character's name in Cats?" I mean,
y'all do this to me every single. I don't know. It's Jenny Annie. I know it's not Dippin' Dots. That's a joke I make, but like I don't know.
Jenny Dots.
Penny Dots. Oh, really? Okay. I was gonna say Penny Dots.
Sure thing. And that is how we will wrap up this third Cinephobe mailbag. Thanks to everybody who submitted questions and who joined us live on YouTube. Thanks to Zach for going to Europe and giving us the opportunity to answer these questions. For Amin, I am Mayes. Catch you next time on Cinephobe.
Next time we make love, you introduce me to Jade.